All right, we're on. All right. What's up, guys? It's your boy Butterpunch. I got another video today. Today we're going to be focusing on the new Corsair hitbox. I got a friend to let me borrow this controller, so I've been playing it for about a week and some change now, so I could get my impressions on it. I don't think this will be like a full-on review. I'd say it's more so an impressions video. But I want to go in detail as much as I can about how I feel about the hitbox, what do I like about it, what do I don't like about it, and who's it really for. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. So I want to start with the dimensions. I feel like I didn't really get to go into detail of my previous hitbox in terms of dimensions, but I think we're gonna go use the previous hitbox that I did and kind of compare. So this is the Quanba Sapphire that I use currently. This is my favorite one so far. So this one goes for about 14.5 inches in length, using my little thingamabob. And then it goes about 10, about 10 inches in height. So that's kind of what we got. And then in terms of depth of field, it has maybe about an inch. Yeah, about an inch of thickness to it. So that's what I use. This is what I like. So in comparison to that, this Corsair, you're kind of looking at a different, smaller dimensions than that. I put a little over here. This one's going to be 12.5 inches. About 12.5 inches. So if you got like a ruler, you can kind of scale and see how it feels on your lap. But this is kind of how it is. And then in terms of height, it is about 9.5. So you can put that on your lap, see how that feels. In terms of thickness, at the top here, it's about an inch, but then it gets kind of slimmer the more you go down. If I show it to you like this, you kind of see it kind of slopes a little bit. Pretty neat. I like it. I like the sleekness of that idea. So when I put it on my lap, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the camera, see if that works. I'm a little rusty. When I put it on my lap, it's kind of like this. Ooh, my camera does not like that. It's kind of like this. I normally, when I'm in tournaments, I kind of sit like this or kind of slumped up. So it still holds kind of fine in terms of, it kind of holds kind of fine on my lap. It kind of feels like it slips in a little bit into the inner parts of my thigh. But I'm a bigger dude. I'm like 290, 280, 5'8". Like I'm a bigger dude kind of guy. So I got thicker legs. So for me, my preference tend to be a little bit on the longer side of controllers. But for smaller folks or thinner folks, this should be fine. Matter of fact, this still good to me. This controller still feels pretty good to me. I can still like play comfortably on it and stuff like that and do stuff. I can still kind of have like a wider stance and I don't feel it slipping. I think that's also due to the nice little grip texture that it has here. So yeah, I think that's a pretty comfortable play experience so far for now with the dimensions that it's provided. Well, another feature is that it also has a little magnetic strip thingy that locks in. I'd say this one kind of has like a nice magnetic click. Compared to the Quanba Sapphire, it feels like it kind of clamps on. This one kind of just clicks on. So I'm noticing that the Corsair hitbox has this like nice, it has this nice premium feel to the body. I really like how that feels. It's sleek, it's thinner, it feels lighter. It feels lighter. I gotta check the grams on the box here real quick. Give me 2 seconds, chat. Let's see. They should tell you the weight of this leverless. It does feel lighter than the one I'm carrying, then the snack box, not the snack box, the Quamba Sapphire I have. Oh, that's lame. It doesn't show me the weight, but I can tell you, it feels like maybe 2 pounds. Maybe it's got a weight to it, so like, you know, you lift it and you feel it on your wrist, but not too much where like I can still like do this, I can move it around, have fun with it. I can't say this one's a little bit heavier and I can't as comfortably swing this around. So this is pretty good. I'm liking this so far personally. So second thing, the buttons. From what I read, apparently these use, what do they call it? I forgot what they were called, but they're using Hall effect switches. That's what they were called. So when I was playing this game with like Street Fighter and 2XKO, I've been using that recently. I haven't used it for Tekken personally because they're missing a few buttons that I would like for them to have, but I'll get to that in a minute. But in terms of the typing experience, I have to say, this is easily one of my favorite typing experiences. I'd say it's on the creamier side of how not controllers, but like keyboard presses are. They're a little bit on the creamier side. I'll bring it up to the microphone so you can hear it. So they're really, really good in terms of typing experience. I have a great time playing on it. Pause. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, it's really good. I'd say I really enjoy playing on this controller for longer periods of time because of that. And then I'll show you right now, in terms of how it is on my wrist, it's got a nice long length to it. So as you see, when I put my hand on it, I'm able to play comfortably with all these buttons. It's really nice to have L3 and R3. I think those are like bare minimum. You should have those in every lever list nowadays. But a lot of lever lists kind of just keep the basic layout. But it's nice to have these extra spares and an up button if you prefer that for a different game. But as you see, I can rest my wrist here, and I can play pretty comfortably. My only complaint, I think right now, if this doesn't flip around too much, there we go. I'd say my only complaint is that you get like little marks when you press on it and you're sweating. So I think that's not my favorite thing, but that's just the kind of body it has. It's kind of have like this magnetic aluminum shape. Oh, excuse the camera for it acting up. I don't know how it flips around and like that. But yeah, it's got this nice little aluminum kind of magnetic chassis. It also has the little controller directions to tell you where they go. I think it's convenient. I like it. It's lightweight, so it doesn't have that heavy weight that you would imagine aluminum bodies tend to have. If you look at like maybe a Quamba Sapphire hitbox that uses those kind of metal bodies, that's kind of what you're looking at. Please excuse the camera. It's looking all wonky when I put it up here. Let's look inside now. So for now, what we have is the inside. So you have three software point of views that you could use pretty much. So camera would focus on here. That'd be great. Oh man, please excuse this, guys. It's not the best thing when it tries to flip. Okay, it doesn't read it properly, but on the top here, it's got the PS5, PS4, and PC. Yeah, that'll do. So I got the PS5, PS4, PC modes. So you can flip it around to have it work wherever you want. So it is tournament ready. So that's a pretty neat thing. And then you have 3 modes here. The top one is Bluetooth. The second one is wired. And the third one is wireless. That one requires the dongle, I believe. And this one doesn't need the dongle. So if you wanted to connect to like a PS4 without using the dongle that would be here. It'd be this one right here. Oh man, sorry for the flip, guys. I gotta see if I can fix these settings. But you could plug this in and then set it up to work on the wireless mode here, and then it would play right away. I think it's really convenient in the sense that I just kind of plug this in on my computer, and I was kind of able to just play without really messing around with too many things. So I really did like that convenience of having just a wireless option. It is kind of nice. I ain't gonna lie. The Quanba Sapphire doesn't provide that, but like I kind of am used to having it wired for tournament purposes. But just to have fun casually, like say I want to go to the living room and play this hitbox. Like if I want to go to if I want to go to like the living room or somewhere like where there's like a grinding session with like some of the homies, I could just kind of plop this in and not have to worry about the wires getting in the way. I haven't tested the latency though, so it might be a little different for competitive players. But I think for casuals, like just kind of be able to play without having a long wire running around everywhere, that's really nice and convenient. So I really like what they're doing with this. So that's pretty neat. So let's go ahead and put back this metal plate. So other things that we have here, we have the PlayStation button. So when you plug in, you're pretty much good. You got the start. You got your own L3 and R3 buttons. So if you don't want to use it here on these, you're more than welcome to use it on here and save these macros for something else entirely. And then you have your touchpad. I think they're really nice. I think they're pretty functional, and they're all in places that are pretty easy to kind of navigate. Like when I'm playing, once I got comfortable with learning the layout, I was like, okay, this is start, this is PlayStation button, and this is the share button, I believe. I could be wrong. I can't remember. And then these are the function. This is the function key. The function key was pretty nice because with the document that they have, the little booklet, it lets you pretty much do some new macros and do new functions like SOD changes and stuff like that. I didn't really play around with that personally. I really just wanted to kind of like get a feel for it and see if I liked it. And overall, it's a nice playable experience. I really enjoy it a lot. Another thing is that since this is Corsair, they have like a computer software that you can use that lets you kind of like change your layout, kind of like the Bitch Fricks. I haven't played with that personally though, but I hear you can pretty much work with that and do some functions. Then you also have these gear buttons. I believe these are pretty much to help set the profiles on the controller. So you have profile 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you wanted to get different profiles, you're more than welcome to do that. Lots of stuff that could be done there. And then they give you a braided cable. It's really nice, high quality, USB A to USB C. So pretty modern standards in terms of how it is. So with that in mind, kind of wanted to just go over, just kind of do like a little impressions of that. So far, I really like the typing experience, the playing experience. It's nice and lightweight, so it's not too heavy. It's pretty easy to travel with. It's the size of like a laptop, so everybody carries laptops nowadays, so it'll fit in your backpack personally. Mine's a little bit thicker, but it could fit in like a backpack, right? But this is nice and sleek. The typing experience is really, really nice. The grips are really, really good. They don't get in the way of anything, and it still sits on my lap pretty comfortably. So it kind of fits on like everybody's kind of size, right? Even for the big guys like me. The typing experience is easily my favorite thing about this. The only complaints I can say is that I don't like that there's not different mechanical switches to set up different profiles. A lot of it seems to be that you kind of have to set it up and use the profiles here. I'll show you an example why I prefer the other one. So here you have this function where you can pretty much choose between using this button as your touchpad or this as your touchpad. And when you're labbing or in practice mode in fighting games, it's really convenient just having it right there next to you. So I think you could probably technically have the touchpad be replicated on one of the other buttons here, like the L3, R3, if you wanted to. But just to have it built in where you just flip a switch to have it is really convenient. And I don't want to have to like deal with the settings so much if I don't want to, you know. I'd rather just, if it's built in, I just hit a switch, call it a day. I don't want to finick with it. I don't want to be finicky with it and mess around. But if you're a tinkerer, then this shouldn't be an issue for you. You can tinker all you want and kind of explore with it. Also, you already have the profiles here. So you kind of just flip your switches to swap to the profiles. Here you kind of just click a button, I imagine, and that's kind of how it goes. I just haven't played with any other profiles personally. I just kind of wanted to try it out, let people know my thoughts of it and who's it really for, which let me get to that now. So I like this controller. Let me triple check the price range of it, because depending on how it's priced, I'm not really sitting there and preferring it as much. This is the Corsair hitbox leverless. So for the price of this leverless controller, right, it's sitting at $250, the Novablade. You're kind of competing pretty much at this point with like the more premium controllers, like the regular hitbox that they have and the Vitrix leverless controller that's around the same price range, and the, what's the other controller? Well, the Corsair, the Quanba's sitting at $200, 180 plus shipping. You're sitting at $200, right? So this is kind of fighting against the more premium type brands. Oh, the Razer leverless controller. This is what it's competing with. So it kind of depends on where you sit at in terms of preference. I'll tell you right now, the leverless Razer, I believe, is sitting at that same price point if they haven't dropped it already, which would be ridiculous because then I wouldn't even recommend it. So to kind of encapsulate everything, tie it all together, you're pretty much competing between the Razer and the leverless KO hitbox between this price range at $250. It kind of depends what your priorities are again. If you kind of just want something straightforward and minimalist, maybe go for the Razer, right? You only play on PS5. You don't play on PS4 at all. You might not even be a competitor, right? But I wouldn't recommend that in my good conscience. It's just not worth the price point. If you go on Amazon for $200, then maybe, right? But then I would just tell you, go get the Quanba hitbox over there for that kind of price point, and you guarantee yourself access to the PS4, 5, and PC. While the Razer gets only PS5 and PC. So then, pretty much this leverless is competing between this cell itself and the Vitrix and maybe a little bit the Quamba, right? That's the closest we're getting with. So let's go with the Vitrix idea, right? So if you want something that I think is nice and premium like the Vitrix, but you want a refined typing experience, definitely go for this. I think this is easily the best typing experience ever. I also read that you can change the actuation point of these Hall effect switches. So the longevity of these kind of switches are a lot longer. In regards to that, I haven't verified too much of whether like that longevity is accurate, because I just kind of stick with the switches, the regular keyboard switches that the Quanba uses, and then you just kind of swap them out with the Speed Silvers that are readily available. But these Hall effect switches are really, really nice. If you want to tweak and modify settings to be the most optimally fast to press, and the longevity of the presses are better, so that way like you have a future-proof controller, I'd say you could go for this pretty confidently. You also have different profiles you can use, and you can swap between SODCs. So I really like this controller. It's nice, it's sleek, it's got the grip on it, it's got a magnetic switches on here. I haven't checked if this has a lock switch on the top personally. So you might, but they're kind of a little bit out of the way. You kind of really have to press the button if you're kind of not paying attention. But you really have to press. I don't think you need the tournament switch in this controller. The only thing is, I don't like that all it is just a magnetic plate. Like all you get is this, right? And then maybe you could like do some painting and put some art on it, or you could do vinyl. You could do vinyls on this. But outside of that, it doesn't make it as convenient to add custom art on the controller. Other controllers kind of let you do custom art. Vitrix, you can get engravings, right? So I imagine you could probably get engravings here, but I don't think Corsair provides that service. You'd kind of have to go and check other stuff for that. Compared to this, where you could just buy an art, have it commissioned, and use a print service that like Focus Attack. So, this also has LED strips. They look really, really nice. I like that it looks really nice when you connect it and turn it on. And I think you can mess around with it, but I didn't really mess around with it too much in regards to that. I just pretty much plugged it in and I was like, oh, this is pretty and nice. I'll be happy to show you guys real quick if I can get this cable connected. Yeah, look. It looks kind of cute. I like it. But yeah, I think this is a really good controller. You're pretty much convincing yourself between, at this point, the Vitrix and this. But if you really want a nice typing experience, like to play on, you could definitely say this. This easily is the most comfortable, like, typing experience. And if you like the creamy sounds of certain keyboard strokes that you have with your keyboard switches, this one's really, really nice. But yeah, that's pretty much like my impressions on it. I think it's worthwhile. I think it has its space in the premium leverless space. I think I would call this a little. I would call this the premium options that they have there, and it's a contender. In my opinion, you pretty much are contending in terms of the premium hitboxes. You got like the regular hitbox, which has like all the cool functions on it, but it's a little finicky to mess with. You have this, the Corsair hitbox, the Novablade, and you have the leverless KO from Vitrix. I think that's really neat, and a lot of options there. And then you have the Vitrix, like the big one, but it doesn't have, only has like the base leverless layout. It doesn't have like all the extra buttons on it that this one does and the leverless KO does. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go like I wouldn't say that this is a bad purchase at any means at all. For sure, it's like if you were to buy this controller, I don't think it's a bad idea. Again, I borrowed this from somebody, so I wanted to make an impressions. So that might skew like a review. That's why I wanted it just to be an impressions video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, I can always answer as best as I can. But again, I only borrowed this for a few weeks to like mess around with. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you liked what I did, give it a thumbs up. If you want something a little more in my future videos out of this kind of experience for reviews, also let me know. But overall, I think this is a worthy leverless controller. I think it's good in the premium space, and it's good for people who want to play like Street Fighter, Tekken, any of those fighting games. There's a lot you could do here that I think is really nice, and it's a nice premium feel to it. But yeah, guys, thanks for coming out and watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.